I see a field medieval and an English civil war. I see a battle building up of every battle fought before. I see a burning bridge being built up to heaven on the moor. I see a man who's done with praying and he's preaching civil war. Sitting in pubs, he can rant you a story that's biblically dirty, of cantankerous verses that seem to consist of lines where the stress is just slightly amiss. But his preaching and speeching is done with such rhythm, when he's drinking and teaching, you sit still and listen. E.g., he'll be, when Adam farmed and Eve span, tell me who then was the gentleman. Each rant he spoke was punished. Each word was sentenced treason. Reason enough to stop him from breathing, but his wasn't death like most of his brethren. Exile and slavery, sent to the Caribbean, where a Jamaican grave would welcome him. This Yorkshire sugar cropper, this first and whitest slave, worked to death and buried in a sugar-fertilising grave. This taproom fanatic gave his sermons to the poor, where he preached a burning vengeance for all battles lost before, for the diggers tremble waiting, for the troopers by the door. He sermoned great redemption and a burning of the law. Though he died and was buried in that bog in Ranters Bay, his rants were caught in bog with him, so couldn't rot away. So whilst his heaven lies unconquered and his banners have been furled, his flock still wait on vengeance and a burning of the world. So in this hell that men call cities, there's an English civil war. There's a battle building up of every battle fought before. Men are counting down the minutes whilst they gather on the moor to drill and train and fight again an English civil war. So a woman hurries. The clip-clop of stolen wooden shoes between the metallic tick-tock of the factory clock, she brings news. From Manchester, Newport and Staffordshire, Lanarkshire and Lancashire. See, the other shoeless men and women there are planning new beginnings where they get a say. But the truth is, no eyes will recognise this Brigante queen before them, this northern Boadicea who adores them with everything she does, though the weapons laid before them were forged in the flames of her love. See, not being a man, she's no speaking rights, so she waits by the gates on most meeting nights. But then, county to county, town to town, when the lights go up and the sun comes down, she's found war on her lips, love in her heart, and bullets for all to hand round. But even the luck of a Cartamundua runs out. So now she's flying and she's running and she's trying to stop from stumbling, cause the horses' hooves are thundering while they try and chase her down, cause her name has travelled high to where princes like to dine, and they want her back alive so they can write her secrets down. So she's running on through hesitance with a hangman swinging confidence, and she's counting down the steps she takes until she can look down. Now her ankles twisted meaning, with her shoeless soles all bleeding, she's losing any feeling of that shabby moorland ground. And now there's a field medieval where the lorries all drive in. There's a spy being sent from London. There's an army marching in. There's ranks of blue-clad coppers. Men are driving over moor. And the roads are cleared round Orgreave for an English civil war. Shirtless and careless, the miners gather to push and pull their way to the road that brings coal to the plant. As they turn onto that road where the lorries unload, the cops split and show them the road to the plant. See, if there are two armies gathered there to face one another, then one of those armies must be deep undercover, as men who don't think that they're fighting a war, but just here to picket the same as before. See, on one side there's slick, trained soldiers, violence trembling in their hearts. The other, they're picking teams before a game of football starts. See, in this field medieval, only one side's come to win. They're the ones with dogs and horses and vans to lock you in. Those who fight for the lords wield nightsticks from armoured horses, well paid, well trained, well ready. The other side, they're only armed with anger at their bosses, and whilst they stand, use their hands to keep their stomachs steady. All time coheres in the breaking of one bone. The Lord's men gather to chase rebel peasants home, whilst a lamb-chopped, baseball-capped leader chants through a megaphone. The single sound of that snapping bone can't swim through that sea of violence. And the single scream of a broken man will be cacophoned into silence, so that eternity will remain, though actual, internal, to one bone in one leg in one man, in that field medieval and infernal, where once more lords of England send their thugs on horseback in, to uphold the law and show the Moors who doles out discipline, who waits and who gets waited on, who's brought and who brings in. But when history repeats itself, it first has to begin. So there's a field medieval, there's an English civil war, there's a battle building up of every battle fought before. A man just finished smoking, grinds his fag out on the moor, and he makes a few quick phone calls, 'cause he's planning civil war.